I've been investing for over 20 years, and I've turned a few $1,000s into a 7-figure portfolio. But here's the question I get asked more than anything else. If you lost it all tomorrow, no investments, a normal 9-to-5 salary, and just your phone, what would you actually do? Today, I'm going to show you the exact step-by-step process right on my phone in real time. By the end of this video, you'll know how to open the right account, avoid the mistakes that cost beginners thousands of dollars in unnecessary taxes, make your first trade, and even grab a free stock to kickstart your portfolio. Stick around till the end because step 4 is the one 90% of beginners get completely wrong. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. This is just what I would personally do. Let's get into it. Step 1, choosing a broker. Most people never even get past this first step, and honestly, I get it. There are dozens of investing apps out there. Fidelity, Schwab, Robinhood, Webull, SoFi. And if you're brand new, it feels impossible to know which one to trust. I've talked to so many beginners who freeze right here because they're scared of picking the wrong one. So here's my personal checklist. The exact things I look for before I trust a platform with my money. First, SIPC insurance. This is non-negotiable. If your brokerage isn't SIPC insured, I'm not interested, full stop. This means if the platform ever goes under, your cash and securities are protected up to $500,000, including $250,000 in cash. Second, fees. Even a small commission or hidden account fee adds up massively over 20 or 30 years. You want $0 commission trading and no account minimums. Third, account types. Specifically, does it offer a Roth IRA? I'll explain exactly why that matters in a minute, but this is the single most important box to check. Fourth, selection. You want access to individual stocks, ETFs, and index funds, not just a handful of options. And fifth, it needs to be easy to use. The last thing you want, as a beginner, is an app that makes investing feel more complicated than it already seems. There are several solid platforms that check all these boxes. Fidelity, Schwab, and Robinhood all work well. If I was starting completely from scratch today, I'd personally lean toward Fidelity because of its long track record and 0 account fees. But if you already use something else, that's totally fine. Everything in this video still applies. I'll drop links to a comparison in the description, and if you sign up through one of those, some of them will actually give you a free stock just for opening an account, which I'll explain later. Before we open anything, you're going to need a few things ready on your phone. First, a valid photo ID. Driver's license or passport works fine. Second, your social security number. If you don't have it memorized, check your social security card, a W-2 from work, or your tax return from last year. Third, proof of address. A utility bill or bank statement is enough. And fourth, be ready to take a quick selfie for identity verification. So find somewhere with decent lighting. Got all that? Let's move on. Step 2, choosing the right account. Type. Here's something most people don't realize. Not all investing accounts are created equal, and picking the wrong one could cost you thousands of dollars in taxes down the road. Let me break this down properly, because this is the part that actually changes your financial future. When you open a brokerage app, you'll usually be given a choice of account types. Let's go through each one. Option 1 is a standard taxable brokerage account. This is the simplest. You can buy and sell whenever you want, no restrictions. You can open as many of these as you like across different brokers, kind of like having checking accounts at Chase, Bank of America, and Wells Fargo all at once. But here's the catch. Every time you sell a winning investment, you owe capital gains tax. Hold for less than a year, you're taxed at your regular income rate. Hold longer than a year, you get the lower long-term capital gains rate, typically 0%, 15%, or 20% depending on your income. Option 2, Some apps also offer margin or options trading accounts, basically built for active or day trading. I personally stay away from this entirely as a long-term strategy. Something like 80 to 90% of day traders lose money over time. If you're a beginner, skip it completely. Then there's the account that actually changes the game, the Roth IRA. This is a tax advantage retirement account. You contribute money you've already paid tax on, but here's the magic. Your investments grow completely tax-free, and when you withdraw in retirement, you pay zero tax on any of the gains. Zero. Now, there is a contribution limit. For 2026, it's $7,000 a year if you're under 50, or $8,000 if you're 50 or older. A lot of beginners hear $7,000 limit and assume that means they can only ever have $7,000 in the account. That is completely wrong. The $7,000 cap is only on how much new money you can add per year. It says nothing about how big the account can eventually grow. Contribute $7,000 a year for 30 years with reasonable market growth, and that account could realistically be worth well over $1 million, and you'd still owe zero tax on withdrawing it in retirement. There's also the option of a traditional IRA, which works the opposite way. You get a tax deduction now, but you pay tax when you withdraw in retirement. For most young beginners, the Roth IRA is usually the smarter pick because you're likely in a lower tax bracket now than you will be later in life. And finally, some platforms offer basic cash management or high-yield savings accounts where your money just earns interest instead of being invested. Think of it as a safe parking spot, but the returns are historically much lower than what the stock market has delivered over any 20-year period. Cash is safe, but it rarely builds real wealth on its own. So, if I was starting from zero today, I'd open a Roth IRA without hesitation. That's exactly what we're going to do next. Step 3. Getting a free stock. Right now, brokerages are competing hard for new customers, and one of the easiest ways they do that is by giving away free stock, just for signing up and funding your account. I've seen people get anywhere from $5 to over $100 in free shares doing absolutely nothing extra. To claim this, you'll typically go through a few quick steps. Enter your email, create a password, add your name and address, and provide your social security number. I know some of these questions feel personal, but this is completely standard for any regulated financial platform. Honestly, I'd be more suspicious of an app that didn't ask for this information. You'll then usually complete a short questionnaire about your investing experience and risk tolerance. This isn't a test you can fail, it's required by regulation, so the platform understands your financial situation before you start trading. Once your account is verified, go to the funding or deposit section and link your bank account. Most platforms let you start with as little as $1 through an instant bank transfer. It might bounce you between the app and your bank's login for verification. That's totally normal. Once the deposit clears, your free stock should show up in your account within a day or two. If it doesn't appear automatically, check the Promotions or Referrals tab in the app. Step 4. Building your portfolio the boring way. This is the step where most beginners freeze completely, because suddenly you're staring at thousands of stocks, ETFs, and funds, and it feels impossible to know where to start. Here's the truth though. You don't need to pick winning stocks to build serious wealth. Instead, I'd copy a strategy that's designed to grow steadily, survive recessions, and keep you invested for decades without the stress. It's called the 3-fund portfolio, and it's the favorite approach of a community called the Bogleheads, named after John Bogle, the founder of Vanguard and basically the godfather of low-cost index investing. Here's what goes into it. The first fund is a total U.S. stock market index fund, something like VTI or a basic S&P 500 fund like VOO. This gives you a small slice of ownership in hundreds of America's biggest companies. Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, all in one purchase. The second fund is a total international stock index fund like VXUS. This covers companies outside the US, spreading your risk across Europe, Japan, and other global markets. The third fund is a total bond market index fund like BND. Bonds are generally far less volatile than stocks and help smooth out the ride when the market gets rocky. So, how do you split your money between the three? That depends on your age and risk tolerance. An older investor closer to retirement might go with something conservative, 35% US stocks, 25% international stocks, 40% bonds. A middle-aged investor might choose 45% US stocks, 30% international stocks, 25% bonds. A younger, moderate-risk investor might pick 55% US stocks, 35% international stocks, 10% bonds. And a young, aggressive investor with decades until retirement might go 60% US stocks, 40% international stocks, and skip bonds entirely. Notice the pattern. It's almost entirely based on age. Younger investors have more time to ride out a crash. Historically, the market has always recovered given enough time, and the people who stay invested through the dip usually come out ahead. That's why, in my opinion, it's actually riskier to play it too safe when you're young than to take a calculated, diversified risk. Step 5. Making your first trade. Let's actually put this into action. Open your app and search for a stock or ETF using the search bar at the top. Let's say you type in Apple. It pops right up. Same process works for literally anything. Amazon, Costco, Tesla, whatever you're curious about. I'll be honest, I treat individual stock picks as a small fun slice of my portfolio, not the main strategy. If you want to buy one, keep it to a small percentage of your total investment since single stocks carry way more risk than a diversified fund. When you hit buy, you'll see a few order types: market, limit, stop, and stop limit. Quick breakdown. A market order buys instantly at whatever the current price is. Simple, but you don't control the exact price. A limit order lets you set the maximum price you're willing to pay. It only executes if the stock hits that price or lower. A stop order triggers a market buy once the stock reaches a certain price, usually used to catch upward momentum. A stop limit order combines both. More control, but a slightly higher risk the order won't fill if the price moves fast. As a long-term investor, I almost always just use a simple market order. Small price differences don't matter much over 20 or 30 years. Most brokers now support fractional shares, meaning you don't need $400 to buy Tesla. You can invest $10 and own a tiny slice of it. Set your dollar amount, review the order, and confirm. Congratulations, you're officially an investor. Step 6. Setting up your 3-fund portfolio and automating it. Now let's build the actual portfolio. Search for your US total market fund. Add it. Search for your international fund. Add it. Search for your bond fund. Add it. Assign the percentages based on the age bracket that fits you best. Once it's set up, turn on recurring automatic investments, even $50 or $100 a week. This is genuinely the most powerful step in the entire video because consistency beats timing the market almost every single time. Automating it means you invest through the ups and the downs without emotion getting in the way. To give you an idea of what's possible, investing $250 a month for 20 years, assuming historical average market returns, could realistically grow into roughly $190,000, even though you only contributed about $60,000 of that yourself. Bump that up to $500 a month, and you're looking at closer to $380,000. These are projections based on historical data, not guarantees. The market can and will go up and down, but it shows you what consistency can actually do over time. Most people spend all their energy worrying about when to buy, but knowing when or whether to sell is just as important, maybe even more so. And that's honestly where most investors lose money, by panicking at the worst possible moment. I'll cover exactly how to think about that in the next video, so make sure you're subscribed for that one. If this helped you, drop a comment with what you invested in today. I read every single one.